Welcome back to Visual Trigger.
Lights are on again. Hit record. Made sure I had sound speed. I didn't realize what, because I've done unit unit photography on mostly commercials, but I've got to write that down. I worked on literally the worst film. I think that, and I feel bad because I know that someone who I've worked with could possibly see this, and I feel bad a little bit that they would hear me say, "Oh, it was the biggest piece of shit, worst film on the planet." And then do I say the name of it? I mean, I think it got 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. But it was absolutely apropos. Oh yeah, I've got to write it down. But having done mostly like unit work, well, having worked on commercials and that kind of stuff, you heard the sound guy yell, sound speed, which doesn't really mean speed. It just means they hit the record button, because the old Nagras, you could actually see the thing going, the reel going. And then the camera is going, and then the first AD or the director yells action. It almost like I have to do that in my head because I'm recording the sound to a really nice shotgun microphone. Because I hate fucking listening to any kind of content where it sounds like it's being shot in in a bathroom, or because you always know when, you're talking to somebody like, you fucking taking a shit, And I think that it's a disservice to people to do really bad sound, but with all those things that you're trying to think about, getting everything done in that sequence, it sucks. But now I've learned that I'll catch myself in like 10, 15 seconds. So I think some of those disingenuous people who claim to be in the photo industry, and if it's hard for me, like and when I hear that, it was some of the content that I heard. I think both places, both YouTube and whatever that facility is, like iTunes, the podcast. It's just a podcast button. They'll say the photo industry, and if people aren't hiring you to do photography or videography, I don't know. Are you industry? Are you just saying that so you hope that some manufacturer notices you and sends you on that trip to wherever the fuck they send you to shoot their new shit and make it look like it's totally organic content? And if you see the same people putting that kind of content, like, oh, I'm in Hawaii, it's I don't know what the content was, or I'm in Las Vegas, or I'm in the desert and there's like 10 other of us doing it. It's so disingenuous. If you read some of these sites, every week they have something new. And I mean, I hate to, you don't go on DP review and say, "Oh, that's outstanding work." I don't know. I remember talking to a marketing guy at a very well-known camera company, and I said, "Yo, what? Why do you guys not really endorse, but more than acquiesce so and so?" And he said, "Well, it's pretty simple." And I looked puzzled, and he said, "If customers see his work, they automatically think they can do just as good as so and so, and he's a famous such and such who thinks he's a photographer." So I guess I get it to an extent, but the constant churn of getting new gear, most of the time, I mean, even for editorial photographers, I mean, print, I believe I will live to see the day when print is dead. Maybe there are super specific special interest magazines, but I think they'll be dead. And, you know, the days of people wanting big screens to look at any of their content, because I mean, that's screens were big at one time, but now everybody has, you know, I know some people that don't even have computers anymore. They store everything in the cloud, and they have like iPad, tablet stuff. Or you have people that still have laptops, but I don't think that people have, you know, desktops. And, you know, most of the content people are seeing is on this. Whether you even shot that for some fancy magazine or it's on fucking Instagram, this is about all people. That's all people are. One more small. And I got to be cognizant of moving my chair because that's super fucking annoying. And it's squeaky. I don't really know why. But I don't get why. So in the blogs I would write, I remember specifically the most comments I'd get were always anything on equipment, anything. And it makes no sense. You're way better served in looking at work on whatever method it is that delivers that to you. There are books still, and there's a lot of really good books. Not necessarily like how to take a picture or how to sell a portrait or all that stuff, but like art books. I would much rather look at those than looking at what the latest and greatest street fad, or I guess street's pretty much the only thing I really look at. I shoot in the wine world now and don't really look at what's going. I mean, I see what other potential clients are playing or buying or commissioning. But I'd say that I see street mostly, like street photography, and you know, I've always been someone who likes to do, I'm attracted to moments. And if there's fantastic light during that moment, that's even better. But I don't necessarily just because there's fantastic light. I like moments more. And having been an, you know, editorial photographer in entertainment and going to big fancy parties, you know, being able to anticipate moments. So in the context of the kind of editorial coverage I did, especially, well, no, that's not true. I did not just inside where people were talking and mingling, but also on arrivals, as they call it, outside. I think I still looked for the same thing, especially, I always had my personal camera and, oh, look, can I see the stuff you shot on that? And I'm like, well, it's got to be developed. It's in film. And the people you shot for, they wanted everything now. That's why there were editors and people doing approvals of all the photographs on the fly. But it always perplexed me why people wanted to know about gear so much. When even the stuff I was shooting, I mean, yeah, it ended up in magazines, but even, I mean, I don't see that happening very far in the future. We are all going to take these and just drill down. That's all we do is drill our feeds, or whatever feeds those are, we drill them. And printed stuff, so in that context, who gives a fuck about megapixels? Are you going to use like a printer like that to make a massive print of something you do? I mean, I honestly think you should. I don't suggest getting one of those big pieces of shit though, because they're more problems than they're worth. Get something like, 17 inches wide. They work great. Or, I mean, even just print your shit in the darkroom. But seeing people just write about new gear every single week, why do, and there are people that comment. I mean, is it really that people really just crave that sense of community so much, even though it's the saddest kind of thing ever? Just like, oh, well, I know him because I comment on brand new gear. That doesn't seem like much of a relationship. And those kind of gear reviewers, I mean, they rely on manufacturers so much that if they're sending you on a trip to wherever, are you really going to give your honest opinion? I don't think so. And I've had relationships with manufacturers as well. Oh, wow. It didn't like that. I start talking about manufacturers and the AF just went nutso. Just had to check I had my other sound rolling. I just don't see how, even though you'll hear them say, oh, well, I'm not sponsored by them. Yeah, but they still send you on trips. And those social media PR people, they are not inviting you back if you say, oh, the AF on this really sucks, or whatever it is that you don't like about the camera or the system, or and I mean, are you really getting an honest review? Because if they have, like a rumor site, which, oh yeah, I wanted to talk about those bastards too. They're kind of a special group, I think. They're not really the gear reviewers, because I'm trying to think. I know every major one of them. And I mean, some of them don't know I know who they are or know about them, but I know about them. Only one of the rumor sites people is like, well, one guy's pretty talented at it actually, but I would say the gear reviewer people, I mean, a lot of people who are watching this aren't going to know what Shutterbug is. And Oh yeah, that was another thing. Photographers do some fucked up shit, and there's like this is totally a tangent, but there was something called shit model management, and it was an Instagram account that got taken down, but it named all the scumbags in fashion, mostly fashion, some celebrity portraiture, but like it was fucking hilarious. I gotta make a note to myself. I think I'll call it like photographers who murder. And I can't fucking read that. So, popular photography. What else was it? I mean, PDN, their gear reviewer was is like he wrote for PC magazines or something. Horribly untalented. To- I don't even know because cameras are tech. I guess he got that job, and he probably got paid nothing for it. So, but Shutterbug, the test photos or example photos, I mean, they were really, really, really bad. And the dude I assisted for 4 years, he shot motorcycles. Pretty much we made fun of Shutterbug. We did a lot of driving to go to locations to shoot motorcycles for editorial and ads. So we had a lot of time to talk. But there was this one guy, and huge in that world. In fact, the guy I assisted for, he was that guy's assistant, and he said, "I can't do all this work anymore. You've got to do it for me. So just they'll be yours now," which is the way it should work. Like that's cool as shit. I don't think it really happens that way anymore. But so he and I were friends first through photography, and we went to this Christmas party, and this big dude who was the guy who gave all the work to the guy I was assisting. There was this story about a photographer who, the total story of like the photographer totally seedy, not even a real photographer really, probably just had a camera, and inevitably there's scumbags, and this guy he either took her to the desert or the mountains, and did horrible shit. Well, someone this was around this holiday party, and it happened like a few weeks before. There's a whole bunch of people in a kitchen of this art director who, for an ad agency that had everybody over for the holidays, and hotshot photographer guy overhears someone say, "Oh, well, I don't really know what they did," and he's like, "Oh, it's real easy. He smother fucked her," and then explained how you do that. And I was like, holy shit, man, that guy's not even like a fashion guy. And I mean, I don't think he would ever do anything like that, but I mean, I'm sure he had a little bit to drink that day because it was a holiday party. But yeah, photographers who murder. And there's, yeah, that's a good topic. So from gear review, gear, gear review people being like the most horrible people on the planet to photographers that murder. Yeah, I just love it when the ideas just flow. I mean, and there's like the king of all reviewers. He actually doesn't suck because, and other people are gonna say, "Oh well, he is what he." When I was able to switch back and not have to shoot fucking Canon anymore, that was such a beautiful day. Knowing that I could shop for Nikon gear again. And that was D4S time. So on some of the lenses, I didn't go anywhere. Even the reviews on B&H, that's another idea. And it's like what, like 12:30 at night, and I still have to go feed 2-month-old goats with at like 1 in the morning because they will start yelling at 6 in the morning. So I would go to Ken Rockwell's site, and the one thing I knew is that yes, I'm sure he's taken like trips for companies to for the launch of new shit, activations of new gear. I'm sure. I don't know for a fact. I don't really pay that much attention. However, when I needed actual information, I went to him because he's some people, especially these gear review people, they won't say anything bad about anything. It's always, oh, this is the most new thing. This is what I love about it. I don't fucking get it. It's not honest. I guess if you want advertisers and you want the gear manufacturer, social media people to be in your good graces or be in their good graces, yeah, you can't really tell the truth, but the amount of traffic they get and the amount of attention they get from, I mean, I'm sorry, but if you're part of one of those, that's a sick, sad little thing. Like, I mean, if it is funny because someone said, "Oh, well, that was actually really good photography," and I actually went through every single photo and pointed out why it sucked, and then he agreed with me. And that stupid chair, I hope I can find where I can oil it because it's squeaky enough, and I don't have headphones on, but I'm assuming that if I heard it, it would piss me off. I kind of hope that people go to these review sites less and less. Like maybe, I mean, I'm sure they're not because everybody's just like an internet beast right now and using so much bandwidth. It's ridiculous. I mean, I think that will segue to, yeah, shooting what you have and why you should shoot what you have rather than, if you just shoot what you have. Now I'll save that for next time. So yeah, it's I'm saying less, and it's getting easier. And it's not just the scotch. So until next time.